Let me click the record button. All right, so I am recording now, so that we can place this in the folder. But being process driven, and if you're taking notes, just kind of split the page in half, because a lot of real estate agents, especially residential real estate agents, the area that we tend to practice out of is more of an emotional area, and emotions tend to drive agents' actions, whether they're successful or not successful. So emotions can even sound like, I don't want to bother them because of this, or I don't want to post this because of this, or I seem like I may be being annoying, or I just don't feel like this and that. Those are all emotions. I don't feel like getting up going to work today. I don't feel like trying out this. I don't think that I want to spend money on this because I'm scared of this. Those are all emotions. When you tend to act out of an emotional place in your real estate business, I will tell you, it's less stressful. You know, it is less stressful because obviously you're not really coming outside of a specific comfort zone. A lot of agents, especially agents who don't really find success in the real estate business, are operating in their comfort zone. And I know it can sound so cliche and easy just to be like, oh, you got to step outside your comfort zone to be successful. We already know that. But when you even look at it from an emotional standpoint, this decision that I just made, was this out of emotions, or was this truly a tactical decision? When you operate out of emotions, and this even goes for the clients, you tend to be more happy, and I know that sounds like where we want to be, but you know, people let their emotions control their unhappiness. I'm not gonna do this, or I will do this because it makes me happy, and I'm just gonna stay in this one zone. Now, where you want to shift your actual real estate business is to make everything in your process more tactical. So something, and obviously y'all have probably seen, even with me presenting to you these different checklists and these different forms that everybody has to fill out. We run this real estate business very tactical. And that's where we want to take your actions to. We want to make everything in your business more tactical. When you start to make things more tactical in your business, what you're going to find is you're going to find more profits, because you will be able to, and I'm going to show you today, you are going to be able to link actions to money. If I do this, I will bring in X amount of dollars. If I don't do this, I am losing X amount of dollars. And so you're going to put yourself in a more profitable situation. Next, you're going to have a better ability to delegate. So as you start to grow a business, and something that the First 31 teaches, and something you're going to learn with me, is we want to expand. We want to expand, unless it's just truly your life dream to open every single door for your client till you're 90 years old. You want to learn how to expand. You want to learn how to build a real estate business to where you're getting more passive income, and it's not just you, the one doing everything. So when you have a tactical business, you can actually delegate things to people. I can delegate. I'm extremely good at delegating. People know what they are expected to do, not only because I have it all written down, but there's just no question about things because I know how to delegate. So when you're tactical, you can delegate. And then the last thing that you're able to do when you run a tactical business is you're able to duplicate. So if at any point you wanted to step away from your real estate business, or you wanted to sell your business, or you want just to take a vacation, an extended vacation, your business is duplicatable to where you can give your head agent or your lead agent the okay to run your business for a week, and everything that you can do or that you've done can be duplicated because you have a tactical business. Does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to give you a few steps here on how you can begin to make a process-driven business. All right. So be sure to be writing these down or taking notes, because this is some good stuff. The first thing that you want to do is you want to figure out, what are you doing on a daily that's giving you the biggest bang for your buck. So this is where it's going to start to link your actions to the actual profits. You need to know where you are making money. You need to know, and even if you haven't closed any transactions from it, you want to know what is giving you the leads, the contacts, the listing appointments, the whatever. So as an example, Johnny, you said a minute ago that now people are starting to contact you to help them, since it's the beginning of the year. So what that number one task would look like so far is, okay, you have these people contacting you. Think what you did, whether it was last month, the month before, whatever, a week before. What did you do to where now these people are contacting you? Okay.
Well, yeah, it was probably just the social media, like, posting on social media, being consistent with that.
Okay. So even getting a little micro with that. So like posting on social. Now, thinking about, and like this is just how my brain works with this and how I do this. You don't have to give me these answers right now if you don't know it, but posting on social. For one, what network did you post on? Secondly, what type of posts were you doing? Thirdly, were they getting interaction? Were people filling out a form, or were they just calling you? Was it videos? Was it images? Was it text? Were you just asking people for referrals? Really link it back to that specific activity. And now you're able to take that and say, okay, posting on social media has gotten people calling me. I got these people calling me and they're ready to buy. This is most likely going to be a commission. So now this one action is one of your process-driven tactical actions to equal dollars in your pocket. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Darlene, an example for you, you've been filling out your greatness tracker, and you're starting to have conversations and connecting with people, drilling down the same way as you start to notice. Okay, I notice every time I make calls between 12 and 2, somebody gives me a referral. Maybe they're in a better mood, or, maybe it's just the day of the week, but really finding out those things so that you can start to build tactics and processes around those specific actions. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing that you want to do, and this is number 2, is you want to map and draw out what your current process is. So a lot of agents, what we tend to do, especially as newer agents, is we just do, and we try anything and everything. We just do. Okay, this week I'm going to mail out postcards, and this week I'm going to get serious about Facebook, and this week I'm going to go attend a networking event, and this and that, and you're all over the place. You're all over the place, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not a process. You're just testing things. And the testing staff hasn't even come yet. And so what you want to do is you want to map out and discover what is your current process. What are you doing right now? What has occupied your full workday, whether that's a 3-hour workday, 8-hour workday, 12 hours, what is that filled with? Okay. And what you're going to start to do with that is, okay, I noticed last week I spent 40 hours doing X, Y, and Z, but I only got leads in from X, or I only got referrals in from X. So maybe Y and Z doesn't need to be there anymore. But nonetheless, we start to test it. But you want to sit here and you want to map out everything that's going into your process right now. And this is going to take some time, because it's not just for lead generating, but you're going to map out what your process is for. Okay, someone says yes. Darlene, I want you to help me buy a house. What does your process look like from then on? Johnny, somebody says, I want you to list my house. I want to meet with you first to make sure that you're the right agent. What does your process look like from then on? Arthur, what does your process look like when you get in a lead? And they have just raised their hand. They didn't say that they were going to work with you yet, but what does that process look like? And you want to do this for every area of your actual business, okay? Because that's how you begin to sculpt and mold, like those long checklists that I have that I posted in the group. That's how those are molded. And you as the head agent, soon to be team leader, soon to be CEO and owner of your real estate business, you have to know your processes, and you're going to start to begin to move in an area to where you're only focusing on high level processes. You know, you're only focusing on the stuff that takes you to number one, the stuff that gives you the biggest bang for your buck. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. After that, you're going to redesign the actual workflow. So now you know what your actual process is. You know what I've been doing, how I've been doing it, or what I want to do, what I think would be good in my head. Now it comes to redesigning that actual workflow. All right. My process started whenever somebody, said that they wanted to list a house. I wanted to be just like the best agent. And so I thought that if I did more for them, then that would make me better, or they would like me more, or it would make me make more money. But that's not actually the case. Okay. What that ends up doing is it starts to put you in that emotional state. It starts to make you stress out over trying to get 98 things done because you've only had time to do 2. It's going to start to make you question your client's happiness, or if you're even happy doing this, or if anybody's even noticing. You start operating out of more of an emotional place, versus when you are tactical and you have a fully designed workflow, you're going to put yourself in the position of focusing on those high level activities. And an example of that with me would be whenever we go into contract, and I think that I've told y'all this, someone gets cookies delivered to them, and it says, this is how sweet closing is going to be. Now, how that first looked, it was me going to the store, buying stuff, putting together this basket, having it delivered to their office, so all the people can notice this realtor delivering these, and maybe they would want to work with me because I was going to make this big scene and this and that. Which y'all, it sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds great. Like, oh, he's putting together this basket, then he's showing up to these offices, and then everybody's seeing and all this kind of stuff. But that's not a good workflow. And the reason is when I have 30 different transactions going on, that's not practical. That's not practical. There's the time to shop for these objects. There's the time to drive to deliver them. Am I going to be driving all across town? And DFW is huge. Am I going to be driving everywhere to deliver a basket that I'm spending all this money on for a transaction that I just hope closes? But if it doesn't, then, what is this and that? So I'm able to deliver the same experience to where they're getting something from me. They're getting it at the office. It's still a little presentation, but it's taking me 3 minutes instead of 6 hours or 5 hours, whatever it is. So that's an example of me redesigning that workflow. Something with when you're being process driven, and let me see, I wrote it down. When you're being process driven, you are thinking about what actions produce whatever result that you're trying to get. So my result was I wanted just to have the client get a sweet treat from me. I just wanted them to get a gift. Like, that was the result. And I wanted it at their office to where people would see them getting it. That was the result in my head. Both of those actions that I just described got the same result, except one was a lot cheaper and took a lot less time. So that was an example of me redesigning that actual process. Does that make sense, y'all? Or, redesigning that actual workflow.
Definitely, yeah. So you're saying more of focus on delegating tasks rather than, basically time is money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You got to focus on what's important, what's bringing in, the leads and everything.
Exactly. What's bringing in the money? What's actually putting the money in your actual pockets, because you have to start transitioning yourself to focus on high level activities and be able to delegate the low level activities. Getting cookies delivered, in my head, it has a high level impact, but it's a low level activity. And it's not the best use of my time. It's not even the best use of y'all's time, because the time that you are spending doing all of that, what are you missing out on? What are you missing out on? You're missing out on lead generating. You're missing out on a listing appointment. You're missing out on a buyer's consultation. You're missing out on getting a contract to, whatever it is. It's taken away from something that's high level. But you're not going to know what's high level for you until you do that first step where you discover what's the biggest bang for your buck. What is making you the money versus what's costing you the most money. Okay? The next step, and I mentioned this a couple minutes ago, is you want to test your processes and test your workflows out. Okay? Testing them out simply looks like, for one, is it making financial sense? I'm getting X amount of dollars in commission, and I'm getting $4,000 in commission, and these cookies are only costing me $20. It seems like it makes financial sense right off the bat. But what a lot of agents don't do, and this is like the little Zillow trap, right? Zillow will tell you on the phone, oh yeah, if you close one transaction, then this is paid for itself 3 times. But has it really? Because what a lot of people don't do is you don't know your dollar per hour. You don't know, and when you really drill down to it, because this really hit me in the face probably about 4 years ago, when I drilled down to how many hours I spent working on things, doing things, even on a transaction level versus the amount of commission that I got, it was coming out to like I was making $5 an hour on some stuff, and this was after I was spending all of this fluff because I thought that it was needed. Okay. And so you want to begin to test. And the first way to test is to know, is this making financial sense? And really know. The variables you're going to use with that is your time and your dollar amount. Okay, to determine if something's making financial sense. Secondly, are you getting the results from whatever action that you thought that you would get? Okay, so my whole result that I want to get with the cookies, and like I'm just keeping this whole cookies thing going along because it's easy to understand. But my 2 results that I wanted happy clients to, hopefully leave me a great review and to have a great experience. And then I wanted people to notice that I was delivering cookies to hopefully get some referrals. If I noticed after the 4th, 5th, 6th time that I wasn't getting that result, then that was a failed test. It sounded good in my head and, I thought it would be good, but nobody really has been caring about cookies and nobody's, sending me a referral and no clients are calling. It's just not doing what I thought that it would do. Okay, flipping the script. Oh, I want to spend $100 on Facebook ads because these ads are going to bring me in X amount of leads and I'm going to have X amount of closing. All right, how many times are you going to spend that $100 before you realize that it works or it doesn't work? That's all testing. Okay, and so you want to always test whatever actions you are doing in there. And then the last thing you want to do, number 5, when you start to notice things are working, and when you start to notice that this is part of my process, you want to document and train. Okay, documenting. What that simply looks like, it's almost like you're putting together a manual. Okay, but you're just putting together a series of steps. So my manual are like those checklists that I showed you, or those the buyer consultation thing that I showed you, or the pre-listing packet. Those are all documents. And what I'm able to do with those, since those are my process, and I know that those work, and they've been the best, most effective uses for me, I'm now able to train somebody else on it. I'm now able to build a team around it to where I've gone on 3 lists, or 1 already, and there's 2 more listing appointments happening today. But what am I doing right now? I'm sitting here with y'all because I've been able to document and train on my process. And so there are people out there handling these listing appointments right now, and they better come back with some listings by the end of the day. But I'm able to document and train on it. And so you want to get to that place too with your processes, writing them down, what's working, so that you're taking your self from that emotional, I'm just doing stuff, hoping that it works, just trying it out, to now you're being tactical, to where every time I have this client, or every time I get a lead, or every time this and that, these are the steps that we're doing. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
so what I want you all to do in your own time and bring these back for next week is write down your top 3 processes that you should improve on that would make you the most money and or save you the most time. Okay? So whatever those top 3 things are that you know work, I just may not be the best at it right now, or this has been working like a charm for me and I just want to share with everybody. Whatever those are, write those things down and bring those for next week. Okay. Now, like I said, when you're being process driven, you want to focus on certain results. Okay. And honestly, this lesson is going to lead into more time blocking activities and just more tactical process driven things. But you want to think about when you're creating your processes, what results are you looking for? Okay. Me showing up to the office at 7 a.m. What result is that getting me? Or what result am I looking for with that? Am I just looking for my broker to see that I am, doing above and beyond, or I'm showing up early, or am I just looking for gratification, or is it truly doing something for me? Okay. When you sit down and you make cold calls or you go to a networking event, what specific results are you looking for with that? Can somebody chime in and give me something that you're looking for a specific result and what you've been kind of doing to get that result?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, like I said before, I make circle prospecting phone calls, like not necessarily expired or FISBOs, but, every time I'm doing that, I'm looking for people that need my help in the future. Just like, I want an email address and a phone number is really
Okay.
what I go for.
Okay. So from what I hear, the big overall goal would be, yeah, they hire me as their agent. But for this specific example, the real result that I hear is you want to get some information from them. You want to get their name and their email address, right?
Yeah, because that way I can put them on my drip email, and then I can periodically touch base with them and see what
Exactly. Okay. So if we take that specific result, what does that process look like that you're doing to get that result? I heard you say like circle prospecting or something.
Yeah, I just get phone numbers for a certain area, and I basically just call them and really just kind of ask them if they know anybody in real estate or if they're planning on moving, sometime in 2019, and if they need any help doing so. And a lot of times they say that they know somebody or they don't, but sometimes I have like a script, and if I get far enough down the script, then there's like a 70% chance that I'll definitely get the email address just by asking.
So do you have a specific conversion rate for that yet?
I haven't tracked specifically a conversion rate. I usually just because I use the Mojo dialer, I just usually track the contacts and then the total number dialed.
Okay. So if I were you, I would make that part of your process once a week to look at the previous week's dials, look at the previous week's connections. How many people you actually talked to, and then how many email addresses did you actually get from them. And then start to measure your conversion rate to know if, and not saying to stop this prospecting, but to know if maybe there's some things in the script I should change, or maybe I should try a different approach, or maybe I should ask different questions, or do I want to maybe try out something else that's going to give me the same result, but a different medium? So maybe set up a landing page or a squeeze page, or put some, mail some, whatever it is, you won't know until you start to, look into it and really dive deep into this process. So for this prospecting, have you tested different times of day that you're making calls?
Here and there, really, I haven't tried in the morning. I usually go for 5 to 9 p.m. because mainly, I don't want to hear that excuse that I'm at work. So that kind of just takes
Okay.
that off the table.
Okay. So something you just did, you just got emotional on me. And you haven't tested that yet. But if you think about it statistically,
Mm-hmm.
if you go into any training or any like large mega training or coaching, they're going to tell you make the calls between most
8 a.m.
time, yeah, 8
Yeah.
to 11, and this is all through statistical data. You know, something that we do, and I'll just tell you, how we make cold calls. We do between 10 and 12, and then we circle back again and do between 5 and 7. So we kind of hit both times instead of just focusing on one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a part of the actual process. So even with that process, when you get there, okay, so like now we've identified the time of calling, we've identified knowing what your conversion rates are. When you get this information, what happens then?
I write it down. I put it in the Mojo system, and then I like to schedule like a follow-up call depending on how the conversation went. Usually I ask if I can follow up, so I'll do that. And then I'll get the email, and then I'll put it through something called like the email checker. It's like Email Hippo or something, and it just verifies the email that's it's not going to bounce. So then I take that and I just put it in the Mailchimp, and then I send out an email once a month, which I kind of want to ask you about that too. I think once a month is not enough. So how often do you think is like enough for like an email campaign like that?
Yeah, it just depends on the type of lead it is.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like a hot lead and I'm kind of ready, I put them on a very aggressive mailing. To
Mm-hmm.
where they're getting once a day. And then if it's not so hot or a month away or whatever it is, then we adjust it. But I have different campaigns for different things, and
Mm-hmm.
that may be something that you want to look into as part of your process too. I know that the specific result you said that you were looking for at the end of the day is you want them to do a transaction with you. But do you have any type of evidence or any data or any testing that you've done to know that your emails that you send out are going to lead to a closed transaction?
Not so far. I don't have any like close transactions actually from doing this. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't have anything all the way through.
Okay, so something that I would probably do is adjust that more. Yeah, you did get the goal of getting their information, but it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna sit in it and forget it and let this email campaign take care of everything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when there may be some better things you can do with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only thing I do is like once a month I send like an update for different markets in our area. But I want to mix in like maybe like some local events or something, like because last year I did like I did like a list of places hosting fireworks and just stuff of value like that. So I think I should probably start adding a couple different campaigns in addition to that one too.
Yeah, and I would even consider more phone calls to them. Uh,
Okay.
so you had that initial phone call where you got their information, but I would consider consecutive follow-up calls just to check in, just to make sure that they're receiving the emails, even if you can see it in Mailchimp that they received it. Just check to see if they've looked at it, they've received it, what questions, all that kind of stuff, because you want to take now from I've gotten this information to I want to build a relationship with you versus how you have it now. You've gotten this information and you're just saying I want to market to you, and you're just marketing to them. And that's valuable information. Neighborhood info and blah 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 blah, but it's information that everybody can get and
Mm-hmm.
anybody can offer. They probably get this stuff in the mail from other realtors. They probably research on their own if they're really interested. And so you want to take yourself above and beyond by starting to build a relationship with them. And so now that you talk to them once, that's the
Mm-hmm.
first hurdle. Now you've gotten some information. Okay, so there's like a little bit of trust there. So I'll give them my information because I kind of like you. Okay, now let's turn that into an actual relationship to where if they want to do something, they're going to use you, or if they have a friend who wants to do something, they're going to refer you. You want to bridge that gap now. Okay, so that's my advice for that actual process. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely. No, I see what you're saying, especially with the getting emotional and stuff like that, because I wasn't even realizing. You're right, about the calling at 5 instead of 8 a.m. and stuff like that. But that's a good point.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else want to share a process they have right now?
I'd just like to piggyback a little bit on what Johnny mentioned, because doing some cold calling about a week or so ago, I did get in touch with a gentleman who was looking for some information. Wasn't sure if he was going to sell this year or so, but he did mention he was going to talk to his wife about it. So I think he is interested in selling. So I mailed him, my little packet, and going to follow up and, to confirm that he received it, to see if he has any more questions, and what else can I do or be of service to you. So like you said, it is building up that relationship. It might not take the second phone call, maybe it might take the third phone call. I did get his email address and what have you, but here again, that's when you build up that trust, you can go a lot further. I just helped a gentleman, a matter of fact, just for the meeting, he bought a vacant lot over here in Palm Bay, and it's under contract. Should close next week. I mean, lots, not that much money, but still. And on the phone, he says to me, he says, "Oh, guess what?" He says, "I have some relatives who were in the area on Sunday looking at some lots." And he says, "They're going to give you a call." So, I mean, I didn't expect it, but it came out of nowhere because I built up a relationship with him. He saw how I worked, how I gave him good service, went above and beyond, kind of like you said. So now I have someone else that's going to come on board and give me some business from that.
Awesome. That sounds really good. Anybody else? We good? Okay. So something. I want to kind of give y'all just a few processes that I kind of do in my business that I feel like are super important for any agent to make sure you make this a part of your actual process. Number one is going to be to call every day, and y'all know I have my theme days that I actually call, but it's an important part of my process to call every day, even at my level to where I have team members and I have ISAs. There's still a responsibility on my end to call, because there are a lot of people who I have worked with personally through my real estate business, past clients that still deserve to hear from me. There's people that I have met at events that are, high level people that still need to hear from me. There are referral partners, people in the industry that send me business that still need to hear from me. So a process of any agent, mega agent, lead agent, team leader, whatever you want to call it, is going to be to call every day. I would recommend another part of your high level process is going to be to market every day to the masses. So market to the masses, meaning whatever type of kind of cold marketing and advertising that you want to do. I think, Arthur, you had mentioned billboards earlier. Johnny, you mentioned some things on social media. Darlene, I know that you do a lot just with your personal contacts, but you want to put it as part of your process to do some type of marketing every day. And you can set up some things around this. This does take time. This does, and this can take a lot of time, but it's one of those things that has to happen. McDonald's, even at their level, they have to continue to market and advertise. They absolutely have to. The Dallas Mavericks, they have to continue to market and advertise. Even as agents, no matter who you are, what level of real estate you're at, you could be the biggest, baddest agent in town. People are still going to see advertisements and marketing from you. So this needs to be part of your real estate processes. Okay. Another part of your real estate processes that is still even important to me is educating yourself. This is a form of educating yourself, what y'all are doing right now. I educate myself on a daily. When I'm going to bed at night, I'm either reading something or I am watching a video on YouTube on, just a different part of whatever. It could be sales, it can be social media, it can be advertising, it can be language, like whatever it is. Even if new contracts come out, whatever it is, you want to educate yourself. Now, be careful with this because a lot of agents fall into this education trap to where they just go to classes, and they don't do that other stuff in the process. But it's super important to continue to educate yourself. These are 3 things that I am always doing. Okay? You're going to always want to stay ahead of the curve. You're going to always want to make sure you are up to whatever's trending, whatever's happening in your market. Educating can be MLS research. It could be researching Facebook ads. It could be researching the new contract that just came out. But you need to be a knowledgeable realtor. You need to know your stuff. You need to know how to do things. So you need to be sure that you're spending time on educating yourself. Y'all, a big trap is you can't rely on the broker for this. And I'm going to tell you, no matter what good game the broker talks in y'all's first meeting, they are not your backbone. And a lot of brokers will make that very clear. Somebody's going to help you out for a while, but they are not your backbone. You have to be the backbone of your business. So try to educate yourself as much as possible to where, again, you're able to put these processes in place and you're able to delegate and train on them, okay? You can't ride the training wheels forever. So start to take hold of your career through the education, all right? Any questions on those 3 processes?
No.
I have a question about when you're talking about delegating time.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'm trying to grow a little bit more on Instagram here and there. I do a lot of times. What I do is like social media, like stories, like about like rentals in the area or sales or whatever. Just to give people a perspective and an idea of price. So I'll take while I'm doing a showing, just do a quick video of the property. And a lot of people will be like, oh, that's great, it's a good price, whatever. But it gets people engaged definitely. So. I'm trying to get as many people on Instagram as possible. So I just want to know from your perspective, is it worth the time? Because when you're talking about delegating, is it worth the time to go on there, follow people, engage with them, direct message them? I know it's worth it, but is it worth it for me to do it? Or should I hire a company to do it?
If your goal is to grow your Instagram, and if you see that is leading to money activities, or you want to test it, then yes, it is worth it. And this is one of those things that you have to set out the actual time for. Before I hired somebody to do it, yes, I was manually going DMing people, liking stuff, researching hashtags. So that's something that I did because I saw the value in it. So if it's one of those things that you want to do, then you have to go all in. If you can afford to hire somebody, definitely do that. But I would probably practice it first, kind of know how it's all ran, kind of know how these algorithms work. Then you can hire somebody, but then eventually you're probably going to hire an assistant and bring them in-house. So you want to know at least how to get it done. So yes, I do think it's worth it if that's your actual goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers my question.
For sure. So just kind of on marketing, I'll say these last few things, and because I know we're getting low on time. When you are marketing, because these are kind of some sales processes that people miss, you want to make sure that you are actually target marketing. Who is your clientele? What do they want from you? What makes them engage? Who likes to work with you? All that kind of stuff. All of those things you need to take into consideration when you are marketing. All right. When you are calling and you were cold calling or whatever, set aside time for that. Like literally block it in your actual calendar, whether you want to do a day a week, which I think is the most beneficial, or if you just want to set aside one day to knock it all out, set that time aside to know this is part of my process. When you start thinking, I don't think I have time for this, I don't know if I can do this, I don't want to do this today, what are you thinking out of? You're thinking out of emotions and you're not thinking out of your actual tactics. Okay, just like right here, we're all here at 11 a.m. Central Time. This is a tactic. This is part of a process. Okay, so put those power hours, whatever you want to call it, theme days, whatever. Put those aside and know that this is your process. And then lastly, are your actual meetings. Make sure those are time blocked too. Set aside an hour, 2 hours, set aside your actual travel time, but don't sit in meetings for hours just because they won't end. Even when you're making phone calls, set aside how much time you're going to sit on the phone with them. I asked 4 questions, and we talked about that last week, but 4 questions: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. I know that these phone calls won't last more than 7 minutes, and that's the time that I set aside. So, this is even how you're being more tactical with your actual processes. All right. So does all this stuff make sense to y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So last few minutes here. What questions do y'all have or want any advice on anything?
What CRM do you use?
So I'm so old school, y'all. Honestly, I use Top Producer, but I will tell you that I have been working with a company on a new CRM, and it's a company that's out of Australia and New Zealand. They have a phenomenal CRM, but it's not here in the States, and we're actually preparing for a United States launch. And something that I'm going to be presenting to y'all here very soon is I need a few test subjects. So I'm gonna want y'all to try out the actual CRM. I'm gonna give you a free license for it to actually try it out to provide feedback. But for the time being, I use Top Producer as for my full on CRM, and then as my kind of lead generator CRM, I use Conversion.
What dialer are you guys using? Redx?
Dialer, no, we use Redx, and then we also use Grasshopper, but Grasshopper is not an automatic dialer, but Grasshopper is just like a separate kind of line dialer, but Redx is the one that we mostly use. And if any of y'all decide to get Redx, let me know before, because I'll give you a coupon so that they won't charge you that $150 setup fee.
So I'm sure you've used Mojo in the past. You would say Redx is better, obviously, right? But why is that?
Well, I'm not gonna say Redx is better or worse. Honestly, up until a year ago, Redx didn't have a dialer, and so how we had to do it before was we had to get the actual list from Redx and download it every day and upload it into Mojo to make Mojo dial it. So we had to have 2 separate subscriptions. Once Redx created their own dialer, that's when we got rid of the Mojo subscription, because there was no need in paying 2 separate places and downloading and uploading when it can just all go under one place. But no, we use Mojo for a very long time. So
okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Hootsuite?
Hootsuite is good. Now I use this other one called Buffer, and it's pretty much like Hootsuite, except you get better analytics in my opinion. So Buffer will tell you how many people clicked on it, what time of day they clicked on it, so you can kind of be more tactical with when you actually schedule things to be posted.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Do you have meetings with your inspectors and title company and stuff like that?
Not inspectors.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, not really.
When you
I don't-
started out.
Title companies I do meet with kind of often because I partner with them on a lot of stuff. So like my client appreciation events, certain open houses, just like classes and stuff. So title companies I meet with way more often. Title and lender are kind of, I kind of meet with them once a month.
Okay, so we're not
Inspectors,
talking about successful chasing. We talking about chasing, way back chasing.
no, yeah, I mean, but like honestly,
In the beginning.
me meeting with all those people back then was mostly just to get free lunch. You know,
Yeah, I did do that.
yeah, now it's more of a, is this the best use of my time? Because I mean, if you think about it,
They don't give leads.
right, and they all kind of do the same things, they all say the same things. So it's like, if you're hungry, yeah, but I just don't see the value necessarily in meeting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've sat there and I've sat through those meetings, but you kind of see after a while, like they're all saying the same things. They're all offering the same things. It's a one shot with most of them because you're gonna meet with them and then you don't ever really hear from them again and until they're saying, hey, send me a contract, and it's just
Right.
no. So honestly, my most important meetings are the people that I reach out to actually meet. It's the people who I want to meet with, the divorce attorneys, the developers, the architects, the store owners. It's the people that I'm reaching out to. Those are the ones who I want to spend my time meeting, aside from those title and lenders to who, I just want to tell you how I can grow your business. Oh yeah? Okay. Well, I can tell you right now over the phone. But, so just don't get too caught up in all that. Find your key people. So if you need to have those meetings, just to search around to figure out who you want to actually work with, then
Right.
yeah, go and do that. But if you have your actual key people and other people are just hitting you up, I just don't, it's just not the best use of your time.
I just need to reach back out to them because I left.
Okay.
And now
okay.
I'm coming back.
Well, yeah. I would encourage you to go on a few meetings and see who you like and see who can like actually help you, and make it more than just about leads. Make it really about like business building. How can they help you build your business, and it can be way more than actual leads.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, do that activity and bring those three processes next week, and we'll get more into this and time blocking. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Talk to y'all soon.
All right, see you next week.